I didn't plan to ask him about prayer. That question came later after I realized something disturbing. He never reacted when I prayed. Not once. The first night, I whispered a prayer out of habit. Not loud, not dramatic, just something I'd done my whole life when fear crept in. The kind of prayer you don't even think about. Muscle memory. Comfort. I expected something. Discomfort, curiosity, maybe irritation. He didn't even look at me. He was sitting across the room, still as stone, his attention fixed on nothing I could see. My words fell into the air and stayed there, unfinished, like they had nowhere to go. That's when I felt the first crack in my certainty. I told myself he didn't understand the language, or maybe prayer wasn't recognizable to him. Maybe I was overthinking it. But doubt doesn't leave once it's invited. By the second day, it bothered me enough that I tried again. Louder this time, slower, intentional. Every word clear, every pause deliberate. I wanted to see if prayer meant anything to him, or to whatever he represented. Still nothing. No reaction, no interruption, no warning. Just silence. Not the peaceful kind, the heavy kind, like a system that never even noticed an input. By the third day, I understood the problem wasn't that prayer didn't work, it was that it wasn't registering. That realization sat in my chest all day. Every sound felt sharper, every thought felt exposed. If prayer wasn't being heard, then what else had I been wrong about? That night, I finally asked him, "Does prayer still matter?" My voice sounded smaller than I expected. He didn't answer right away. He turned his head slightly, not toward me, but toward the empty space beside me, like he was checking something I couldn't see, not listening, verifying. Then he asked a question I wasn't prepared for. "Which type?" I frowned. "I don't understand." "There's more than one?" I asked. He nodded once. "There always were." He shifted his posture, subtle but deliberate, as if what came next wasn't casual information, it was clarification long overdue. He explained that early prayer was never meant to ask for rescue. It wasn't begging, it wasn't negotiation, it wasn't submission. It was alignment, a way for consciousness to synchronize with responsibility, a reminder, not a request, a recalibration, not a plea. Prayer, he said, was originally how humans reminded themselves of what they were capable of carrying. Then humanity changed it. Prayer became a request, then a demand, then an escape. Each one quieter than the last, each one moving responsibility farther away from the person speaking. I asked him what that meant now. That's when he said the sentence that made my chest tighten. "Prayer still matters," he said, "but not to the ones you're praying to." The room felt colder after that. I asked him to explain. He said modern prayer no longer communicates upward, it reflects inward.
Every prayer exposes something, not faith, not devotion, but expectation. It reveals how much responsibility a species is trying to avoid at any given moment. Every plea is logged, every request is measured, not for belief, for dependence. I asked him if prayers were answered at all. He said yes, but not in the way humans believe. He told me outcomes still happen, survivals, coincidences, near misses, recoveries, events that fall just short of disaster. Humans label those answers, but correlation isn't response. The universe doesn't move because someone asked nicely. Prayer doesn't move reality anymore. It moves the person praying. And lately, not even that. I asked him what changed. He didn't blame technology. He didn't blame science. He didn't blame disbelief. He blamed substitution. Prayer stopped being paired with action. Humans pray instead of intervening, instead of correcting systems, instead of confronting injustice, instead of taking responsibility. Prayer became something you do after deciding not to act, a performance of hope, a ritual of delay. Prayer became a substitute for courage. That's when I asked the question I shouldn't have. I asked if prayer could make things worse. He didn't hesitate. Yes. The word landed hard. He said, when prayer replaces responsibility, it delays correction. It teaches people that waiting is virtuous, that endurance is the same as growth, that suffering has meaning even when nothing changes. He said entire civilizations collapsed not because they stopped believing, but because they kept believing someone else would fix what they refused to confront. I felt something in me resist that idea, a lifetime of belief pushing back. I asked him if anyone still prays the right way. He said, very few, and they never ask for outcomes. They don't ask for safety, they don't ask for relief, they don't ask for signs. They ask for clarity, for accountability, for strength to act without reassurance. Those prayers don't sound holy. They sound dangerous. I asked him if prayer would ever regain its power. He looked at me then, fully, directly, and for the first time, his voice carried something close to regret. Prayer regains power, he said, when it stops asking to be saved. Then he added the line I can't forget. The moment prayer becomes a request for rescue, he said, observation begins counting down. My mouth went dry. I asked him how close we were. He didn't answer. He just stood up. No drama, no announcement, just movement, like a process reaching its final step. Before leaving the room, he said one last thing, quietly, like it wasn't meant for comfort. Prayer still matters, he said, but now it's evidence. That night, I tried to pray again, not for help, not for forgiveness, not for protection. I searched for the right words and found nothing waiting for me. No script, no habit, no comfort. For the first time in my life, I didn't know what to ask for. That's when I realized the most terrifying possibility of all. Prayer didn't stop working. We did.